Hey guys, it's Ashley,
And Sushi,
and this is
we should
Pod Dad. We're gonna get it one of these days.
episode.
We should watch that with Ashley and Sushi. Feel the vibes, it's a night so lush.
Episode 3.
Let's do it.
Let me do a quick overview of what's happening.
Excellent.
For looks this week, we got the focus movie is the Toxic Avenger, the new one.
Mm-hmm.
Look back, the movie is Relay, and for TV we got the new episode of Foundation and the last 2 episodes of Alien Earth, just because we're recording this a bit later than usual this week.
Yeah.
So we figure we get ahead. And then look ahead movies, we're just going to quickly cover Twinless, Lurker, and for TV, just probably just talk about what we expect for Foundation and Alien Earth coming up and some other shows.
Sweet. Let's do it. So our first movie is The Toxic Avenger. This movie was originally released in festivals in 2023 and finally got a wide release, well, wide-ish, this month. Stars Peter Dinklage. You've got Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, Jacob Tremblay, that a little kid actor, no longer a little kid. And it's basically about Peter Dinklage. He plays a really downtrodden, I guess would be the word, character named Winston Goose, who works at just the worst possible place you could imagine. It's just like very toxic, as the name implies. He gets, into some toxic goo because of a series of events. And he is trying to both protect his stepson and also take down the bad guys with horrific and comedic violence. So that's Toxic Avenger. What'd you think about it, Sush?
I thought it was great. And I don't understand why it took so long to get released.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, it's gory, but it's also very fake type gore.
Oh, yeah.
I think comparatively, of what I know about the original Toxic Avenger, this is pretty tame compared to that. Also, I think the audiences nowadays have been more primed to this. This is, I think more audiences nowadays are used to stuff like John Wick or things like that, where there's already ultra violence, where maybe there's not as much gore and stuff. But for anybody who goes a little bit beyond that, I don't know, a good example would probably be Boy Kills World.
Oh yeah.
So movies like that go a little bit farther and go into kind of the horror kind of gore makeup type stuff. So I don't think this is too much to ask. I think it's reflective on Rotten Tomatoes, at least, of what I thought about it, mostly because I thought it was just a funny movie. And I think that pretty much throughout the entire movie, there's always a drive to make some sort of joke. It doesn't matter. There's not really any dead, space, or there's not really any space for the movie to breathe. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a good way, where it's ongoing. Mostly I miss these types of movies because I kind of grew up on this type of stuff, a little bit more crude humor from the late 80s. So this is kind of an updated version of that, where I think younger audiences that are into this type of stuff will, still be into this. So I think overall, for enjoyment, I'd give it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then for quality, I give it a 3, mostly just because, you can't really, you'd kind of change the movie if you went any further with the quality. I think there's an intentional effort to make the quality like kind of shoddy or like low budget looking, which is fine. I am just keeping it at a 3, mostly because it's effective in what it does, but obviously, because of the quality in general, I don't think it's going to compete with, some more like polished or serious type content, or, that applies to like larger audiences. So
Yeah, I mean, this movie was campy, like
yeah,
really campy, and really knowing of one of my one of my favorite moments. Kind of like you were saying, there's jokes just constantly everywhere, like visual jokes, little things, background extras
yeah,
saying crazy things. And early on in the movie, he, has the worst job, lives in the worst place, and he and his stepson see some, I guess, mobsters, I don't know, bad guys pressuring their neighbor to sell her building. And they do it by stealing her cat. And then as they're leaving, the cat gets away and he saves it. And then all the in the background, someone goes, "He really saved the cat." And
yeah,
it's like, they are so on top of all the like storytelling cliches like that
right.
in a really funny way. Like, I actually didn't even notice the cliche until they said it out loud. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I think they
yeah.
do a good job of highlighting the stuff in the background too, because they're like very loud with like the commentary, I guess, or like
Mhm.
the dialogue that's happening in the background, just to bring your attention to it a little bit more, even though like you may be missing it. I don't know. I feel like as people with ADHD, we're always looking at some weird details in like the
Yeah.
background sometimes. So like sometimes something weird will catch our eye, and this definitely is a great movie for that type of stuff. If you're one of those people who looks for stuff in the background, or it definitely begs for like a rewatch because of all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it again. And there's all these running gags. Like, there's a few scenes where it's in an office, and in the background, someone's doing construction,
yeah,
and it goes
that was my
wrong.
favorite one.
And they're like, "Oh no, you messed up. You
Yeah,
messed up again."
yeah,
And it's
that's great.
bizarre. But I also think like they got really good actors to do it. That's kind of what
That's
makes
true.
this different than sort of, well, I shouldn't say that, because I know I've seen parts of the original, but I was very, very young. Um, so in this one, though, they get really great actors. So it's got a really sweet story about him and wanting to be a hero and wanting to be a good example for his stepson.
Mhm.
I just loved it.
Cool.
Um, I think for me, I'm going to give it an enjoyment rating of 4 as well. And for quality, it's kind of hard because poor quality, kind of like you were saying, is intentional and what makes it good. So I gave it a 3.5 because, if you look at it, obviously it's not going to look like a blockbuster,
Hmm.
but everything's intentional and done well. And the script is really, really clever. And it's one that I know I'm going to want to see as soon as it's out again. I know I'm going to want to have my friends watch it when they come over.
Yeah.
So I really highly recommend it. Loved it.
Cool. What's next?
All right, next we got Relay. We've been saying we are going to see this movie for like weeks, and we finally did. And you know what? It's kind of a weird movie. So it stars Riz Ahmed, and he plays like the most specialized kind of quote fixer that you can imagine. Okay, so if you have worked at a company and you want to whistle blow, but then they start threatening you and your family, and you're like, "Oh no, I want to take back the blowing of the whistle." You go to Riz Ahmed. That's like his extremely specialized, I guess, line of work. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he makes a lot of money
Yeah.
off of it.
Right.
And it's just all, shady and cool. And the way it starts is you've got a young lady. She is looking for someone to help her out, and a law firm connects her with the Riz Ahmed character. And the way they do it is through relay phone calls, which is something. It's funny, we were discussing this. I worked in retail 20 years ago, and we had people calling through relay systems
Yeah.
for like scams, like trying to buy things with someone else's credit card, because relays are set up for people who have hearing disabilities, and they type a message and
Oh
then
yeah, like deaf mute if you're deaf or mute
yeah,
or mute.
exactly. And so they type the message, and then an operator reads it to the other person on the line. Then the other person responds, they type it out for the other person. And it's an incredibly amazing, wonderful service that's like was life changing for a lot of people, especially before the internet, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it also can be used by scammers or highly specialized fixers in this case.
Yeah.
So he's helping this character, Lily James, and that's pretty much it. They get like close. She's
Through the
kind of
process.
flirty with him, which I thought was very weird because as a woman, you don't want to get flirty with people willy nilly. You have to protect yourself. So for her to be flirting with like this person who she doesn't know if they're male, female, 10 years old, 100 years old. At one point he mentions the Who, and she's like, ooh. And I'm like, girl, if that was me, I would worry they were my parents' age, because those are the prime Who demographics. But anyway, they get close, things go wrong. Sam Worthington's in it playing like the dude hunting her down. He's pretty entertaining. Yeah, and well, I'll go to you first, I guess, Sush. What did you think of the movie?
I like I was saying yesterday when we were talking about it amongst ourselves. I liked the movie a lot, but only up until a certain point.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's very strong, and then it gets to a point, and then it's then I feel completely differently from it. And I think that's mainly why, like, I want to give it a good rating, because so much of it is good, but it is one of those situations where I feel like they could have done a better job at it. So I guess this plays into my rating. I mean, like, I do want to just preface this by saying that I do like Riz Ahmed. I think he is a good actor. And I've definitely seen like Sam Worthington and stuff that I think he's good in. This is probably one of his more standout roles, at least for me, because I'm so used to him trying to play like some type of tragic hero type character, or just a hero type character that, this was a nice change up, because he doesn't play a hero. He's like more of like a antagonist, like corporate shill kind of character. So, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, because of that, like, big pivot, I guess, in later in the movie, I'd have to give this like a lower quality rating. Like, my enjoyment, I would give it a 3, just because it was good for such a long, portion of it. But for quality, I have to give it a 2, mostly because aside from the acting and, the promise, I guess, of a movie that could be really good, as like a thriller type movie, I think the payoff wasn't really there. So, 3 for enjoyment, 2 for quality for me.
Yeah, that third act, it's not even the third act. I feel like it's like almost halfway in. Like,
I don't really know if I don't really know if the person who wrote this was thinking about acts or anything, or any type of structure, like, I feel like this is like, it was very much a story that was told by like somebody who had a great idea and then like didn't know how to pay it off almost.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is the premise is so good.
Yeah.
And Riz Ahmed is so good. And I'm almost surprised there haven't been movies in the past, or if there is, I don't
Right.
know about
'Cause
it.
I think
About the system.
the writing at least, at least your impression of the writing is that the writer at least did research into this service more so than most people would know about it. I don't think it's very face value at all.
Mm.
I mean, maybe for the purposes of this movie, it's like a cool element to have, but I don't think, I think there's enough in there that makes you feel like they put some effort into it, but like they almost put too much work into like the research and not into like making sure that this pays off somehow.
Yeah, it just really drops off at a certain point. Because
Yeah.
the premise of the relay is great. Also, it's like an interesting idea that it's like, no, I don't want to be a whistleblower. I just don't want this company to kill me. Please help me.
Yeah.
That's really interesting too. But every time they try, like they do, there's like a side plot about why Riz Ahmed's character does what he does, and then he has a connection with another character. But it felt weird.
It's like a lot of the stuff they just can't stick the landing for. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like more than one thing. It's like, the main plot, there was a problem with it. Like the side plot, there's a problem with it. And even like the initial plot, initial kind of like event that it kicks the movie off with, like that the first client, like it shows like the tail end of the previous client that Ahmed is like helping. Like even that later on like doesn't pay itself off, you know. So yeah, I mean, I totally understand. I think we had the same complaints about this.
Absolutely. And also like I there's like a twist that you see coming from like a million miles away, and they don't, and I knew it was coming. I knew what it was going to be, but I don't mind. I watch a lot of movies that are predictable. I don't care about that, but the way they did it didn't work. I didn't like the way female characters acted. They just didn't act the way a woman in a city would act.
Yeah.
I just immediately I knew something was strange or it was in the writing, because there's this woman who's being harassed to the point where she thinks she's going to be killed, and she has to spend, tens of thousands of dollars, I think it was, to like get help. And she's in a quote safe house, but she has all the shades open and she's walking around with no bra and a tank top. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know many women who would do that in a city if they were worried about just like everyday safety, minus that. So that was kind of bizarre. And the way that his character becomes attached to her seems bizarre. And the ending it really annoyed me because the premise was so good.
Yeah, I think it's just they do try to use some weak connections and it doesn't pay out. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so I guess, for my rating, I gave it I gave it a 2.5 enjoyment. It's more like a 4 for the first half hour and a 2 for the rest. That would be it. And for quality, I gave it a 2. I just wish it was better, because you could see how it could be better. But that is Relay.
All right, moving on to TV. Foundation episode 8. The Mule confronts Harry at the tail end of the last episode, episode 7. We saw that, but we kind of see what the outcome of that is. Basically, the Mule tries to attack Harry, but he's obviously a hologram.
Right.
So he can't really attack him with his mind or anything like that. And actually, Harry, the hologram, ends up reinitiating the null field, but spares the Mule because he knows that he holds a crucial secret. Basically, we get to see what happens to Brother Day. Mm-hmm. And he's in the mycogen.
It was creepy.
Forum. Yeah, and so he's tried basically for Cleon the First's crimes, but in order to save himself, which isn't really even that. I think he really does just believe that Demerzel does deserve to be free.
Yeah.
He does feel like there's something very weird about the arrangement and the situation, and he doesn't really care, because he's already disenchanted with the whole being an emperor thing. We know that from before when all he wanted to do was get fucked up. So, basically he comes out and tries to say that he knows a robot and all this stuff, and even though the Brazen Head does kind of appeal to him because he knows the song.
Yeah, that was cool.
Sunmaster 18 just ends up acting like any old cult leader and wants the existence, he kind of wants to keep it that the robots never come back, because then he won't have anything to do,
He even admits it today.
Yeah, he does. Kind of like whispers it to him. But we find out that Demerzel, in fact, is Daniil.
Oh, you forgot a big part, which is they're like, okay, Day has to get remediation, and they drop him into a pit.
Yeah, but we don't really see what happens from that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we find out in the next episode, because we do have trailer footage where he's got like residue on him or something like that. So who knows? Maybe it has to do with them or some later event. Continuing on, Dusk basically unveils the Navacula to Demerzel. Apparently she didn't know about it.
Yeah, she doesn't know about a lot of stuff in this
episode.
I
was kind of surprised that she had no idea of its existence. I mean, it's not really like that small of a thing to hide. So I find it strange because like she usually knows what's going on. But I mean, she does the usual erasing Zephyr Varellis's memories when she comes and like visits her. And we find out more about Dawn's status. We finally see that he's alive, being held with Beta on the Mule's ship. And the Mule basically just like messes with them. Doesn't really actually have a plan for him currently.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't know, like, they made sure to not have the Mule probe his mind, because my theory is that it'll lead him to finding out about the Novacula, and somehow the Mule will end up using that. And then the last major event is that Gale and the first speaker, Preem, who's the mute guy, they meet on Ignis after the Mule's attack, and Gale decides to confront and kill the Mule. She entrusts Preem with the Prime Radiant and basically asks for everybody to be evacuated off of Ignis into a hidden world. And if she doesn't come back in 2 days, then to just keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you think about the episode?
I would say the way I feel about the last 2 episodes is so much is happening, and it's driving me crazy to wait for the next episode. Like, I think that it's just so exciting how things are building, and you really see that, and I just kind of can't wait to see what happens.
I felt a little different about this one, actually.
Really?
I felt like the previous 2 episodes, I would say episodes 6 and 7, did a lot to set up this episode. I feel like we finally get some reveals that we've been kind of waiting for. We have the confrontation between Harry and the Mule.
Yeah, that was cool.
See where they stand as far as like their capabilities, even though Harry is just hologram Harry right now.
Right.
We find out what happens with Day as far as being tried and everything. I mean, we don't find his ultimate fate, but at least we know that he gets a trial, and we find out that, Sunmaster 18 is just a cult leader, and he doesn't really believe in this
full
stuff.
Of shit.
Yeah, and we got confirmation Demerzel is Daniil, which from
very
stuff,
crazy.
The small amount of content that I've, I guess, perused about Foundation outside of the show, it's talked about it a bit, so it's cool to get that payoff. And finally we get to see what happened to Dawn and Beta, so that was cool. I think it feels like the last moment we're going to get before they just have more action again.
Yeah, you're right. It was a little bit. You do get some of those big reveals, which is
Yeah.
exciting. But yeah, it probably is the calm before the storm
Yeah.
because so much is going to happen. There's a lot of interesting things in this. Just like a couple random things that come to mind is in the trial for Brother Day. There's
Hmm.
like a performance
Yeah.
of like I think it was about like what he did wrong, and there's all these people in crazy, intimidating makeup, and there's like some
Right.
dancing. I believe that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I loved seeing also the reveal of like how Dawn survived. I thought that was really interesting.
Hmm.
So basically, his suit needed energy to keep providing, keeping him alive. So it started essentially like attacking his body and drawing energy literally from
Oh, right. From his
his
legs.
body, from his legs. So he has
Yeah.
these
Heat or
really
whatever.
gnarly scars on his legs. I thought
Yeah.
that was interesting. I mean, I love Beta. She is the best.
Mhm.
And she is with Dawn when they're visited by the mule. And she's just the way she carries herself is interesting because he's talking to Dawn and trying to be kind of intimidating and clever. And she's just sort of lying on one side, watching it calmly, like as if
Yeah.
it's nothing. But then she sort of speaks up and sort of challenges him a little bit too.
Hmm.
Um, I just find her character super, super duper interesting. So that was cool. Um, I also found it interesting, sort of hopping all around here in the trial, that Song's partner is a part of basically they make Song be also getting tried for the crimes
Yeah.
because she's the reason that Day is there.
Yeah.
um, and so I'm curious how that's going to play out. And they sort of pit her partner against her because she's part of the, I don't know, team
Hmm.
people who are executing justice on Day. So yeah, a lot of just interesting tidbits. And then yeah, I just am dying to know what happens.
Cool.
Yes. Okay, so we've got two Alien Earth episodes this week, starting with last week's episode, which was 4. So we're starting to see with Dame Sylvia and Arthur are seeing kind of the toll that Prodigy's experiments are taking. Nibs is really spiraling. She thinks she's pregnant. It's creepy. Then we've got Wendy discovers that she can communicate with the xenomorphs. So they do these like clicking and breathing sounds, and she's able to recreate it almost exactly, kind of not speaking like through a human voice, but almost like she's just communicating just like them. Then we've got plenty of creepy eye stuff. The eye parasite hops into a sheep and takes over its body. We also find out it's very smart, which is kind of terrifying. And then also, we finally get to go back to Hermit's lung that they had dissected, and a xenomorph does burst out of it. And what's creepy is it ends up kind of responding to Wendy and sort of like it's almost like a snake charmer thing. And it's pretty creepy. So, yeah, what do you think of this episode, Sush?
Yeah, I thought it was good payoff for some of the creatures that we see. We
Mm-hmm.
finally see what they're capable of doing. I know we got some of that from like the ticks in the previous one, but there's a little more of that. I thought it was cool that we ended with Wendy being able to communicate with the
Mm-hmm.
xenomorphs. And yeah, I mean, I think overall it did a good job to kind of move everything along with the plot,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of as far as like seeing how each of these hybrids is like reacting to the situation that they're being given, because everybody is, I guess, dealing with it differently.
Right.
Like you were saying before, like Wendy is like taking it upon herself to be kind of like a leader and be out there and do as much as she can to not only for her brother but also for the company
Right.
and her group. So she's kind of at the forefront of everything, but then we obviously have like Nibs, who's not taking it very well at all.
No.
She's probably cracking. Same thing with Slightly, like he's cracking a bit.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit less because he's not going crazy necessarily, but like Morrow's bugging the crap out of him. So,
Yeah.
He's not dealing with that well. So,
Yeah. So I think that was a good one. And then it leads into this week's episode, episode 5. Okay, so episode 5 starts with a pretty cool flashback where we get to find out what happened on the USCSS Maginot. And guess what? It's sabotage. So it turns out that Petrovich was colluding with Boy Cavalier and disables the ship. And yeah, he releases face huggers and other horrifying creatures. And it all goes wrong from there. This episode has a ton of body horror. There's grotesque kind of infection sequences. There are these, oh my God, these parasitic tadpoles. They get, somehow it's like they get ejaculated into a water bottle, basically. All of them floating around in there.
Well,
and
it's by those ticks, right?
Yeah, I think it's the ticks. And you just keep seeing people almost take a sip, not take a sip, almost take a sip. And when they do, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
And then you get to see basically how it is that only, our security officer Morrow survives. He ends up shooting the saboteur, the Petrovich guy, locks himself in the panic room and just sort of awaits the crash. And that sort of goes back to where we saw him when we first get introduced to the character. So that was kind of cool to go full circle and get that background. And then, so as the ship is crashing, Morrow ends up meeting with Yutani's CEO, who thanks him and signals ongoing corporate battles over alien specimens. So really interesting backstory. It kind of puts everything we've seen so far into perspective.
Yeah.
And so much cool alien stuff. So what do you think, Sush?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I was hoping that we would get some kind of like more backstory. I know we got some in the initial episode, but it really didn't explain what was going on because it just made Morrow look like, crazy for no reason.
Yeah.
Like it made me think that like for some, like they had some control over him as an android to do what he did, but there really isn't. I mean, you find out that basically his motivation is his kid, right?
Oh yeah, sad backstory. Yeah, he left and they're on these 65-year contracts.
Yeah.
And so he's away and he gets notice that his daughter, I think she died at like 16, 17, something like that.
Right.
And so that completely upends his life and his motivations go crazy. And then he seems to have so much more knowledge than the crew about what's going on the ship.
Yeah.
So it also makes you realize that his actions are based on information that we didn't have previously.
Right. But I also think he's like a very much like a by the book kind of guy because we do catch like a lot of moments where he's clearly frustrated with the way that the crew has been dealing with this mission. And I don't even completely disagree with him. Like it makes him seem a little bit more justified in the action that ended up taking kind of, because between Petrovich doing stuff like behind everybody's back and sneaking around the ship, and then like everybody else having their own like little secrets that they think are, probably inconsequential, but I don't know. It's just like almost like in a situation like this where some people have information there's a potential crisis situation that can happen, or if they know about, I don't know. I feel like, he has a better understanding of what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to want to take it seriously. They just basically play it off like he's exaggerating, or he's like making
Yeah,
it.
they really don't understand the danger.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so I did do some research, and basically this show is supposed to take place before the first Alien movie
Oh, okay.
and after Covenant.
Okay.
So there's limited experience anyway with these creatures. With probably like not a lot of data. So yeah, I can understand, why the crew maybe is not taking it as seriously, but I think once everybody realizes like how bad the situation is, just with the ship alone, without even considering the creatures, just that the ship is going to crash land, like it seems like nobody cares anymore because everybody knows that, they're not going to survive this thing. So
yeah,
who knows? I feel like it just illustrated though that maybe Morrow isn't such a bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, now he's trying to do some stuff as far as like trying to get information from Slightly and everything. But I think he's just in a place where he wants to make something out of this now.
Yeah.
Because he knows he doesn't have a family to come back to or anything. He just wants to get something out of it. And I think his way of doing it is just to deliver the creatures to Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to next week. I hope we get a little more Timothy Oliphant, I'm loving his character.
Yeah.
Cool. And so for looking ahead to what we're planning to watch this week, we're looking forward to seeing Twinless, which is, it seems to be the trailer, I think is leaving out like something big that happens in the plot. But all we know from the trailer really is that there's a support group for people who are twins who've lost their other twin. And these two guys who are part of the group become really good friends. And then there are secrets. And then there's Lurker, which is about a lurker. So
wait, before we go on to Lurker, I just want to say I'm a Dylan O'Brien fan. For that American Assassin movie that some people like. I really liked it. I liked him in that movie. I also liked what was that? Maze Runner. So
yeah, that's cute.
But I do like that he's playing kind of a different role than he really is playing. Like typically he's just like the hero guy, unassuming hero type guy. And in this movie, he's kind of out there. So I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to this. I want to see what he could do outside of serious action type stuff. I think he's funny in the trailer. Let's see if he can do weird and funny.
It looks really good. So I'm super looking forward to that. And then Lurker is sort of like a normal guy befriends what I think is like a moderately famous singer. And then
what was our assessment of this? Didn't we say like this is what Hurry Up Tomorrow wanted to be?
Oh my God. Why are there so many movies this year that are what Hurry Up Tomorrow wanted to be? Like,
I don't know.
It's crazy.
What was the other one that was like the...
Oh my gosh. Dang it. Which one? Oh, the Oh Hi.
Yeah, it seems like everybody wants to do like a weird, crazy fan or crazy girlfriend, kind of thing, where somebody gets like held against their will. It's movies about people being held against their will.
There's a lot of that. But this one, we don't know if he gets held against his will, but we do know he gets creeped out. Both of these movies are getting really good reviews so far, so that'll be great. And good reviews, I think, on both sides, critics and audience.
Yeah.
And then for TV, just keeping going with our faves right now: Alien Earth, Foundation, Chief of War, which we haven't been recapping, but if it's something you guys are interested in, we can. And we gotta catch up on Dexter, man.
Yeah, we have time for that. There's a new South Park also by the time this episode comes out, it will be after, it comes out, but there is one this week, meaning the 3rd
Yes.
of September.
Awesome. All right, Suze, will you take us over to, I don't know, The Ring? I don't know. I couldn't make a good transition there.
What? Okay. Well, now let's move on to wrestling news with Oh No. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a lot to recap. I'm just going to try to power through all this. I'll stop for color commentary, I suppose. Let's kick it off with SmackDown, August 29th. It was in Lyon, France. I think this was the beginning of Clash in Paris weekend. So they're still in Europe. They're going to be in Europe all weekend. But were they in France all 3 days? I can't remember where they were on Raw, but I think they were. So maybe they were just in France specifically. But anyway, getting down to it, on SmackDown, as far as promos and drama goes, Logan Paul kicked things off. John Cena confronted him. Mm-hmm. They go into this whole, Cena goes into this whole speech about Logan Paul and like how much talent he has and all this crap. Basically, like kind of what I would say most of the fan base kind of feels like right now. I mean, if you're not from Logan Paul's generation or his like fan base's generation, and I'm talking about not as a wrestler, but like his YouTube stuff. If you weren't a part of that, then you probably feel like Cena does. And I thought this was really strong. It was
good.
Yeah, I thought it was a strong delivery from Cena.
Good promo.
I think it plays into, the reality of like who he is as like a wrestler and how much he cares about it. And I think it was genuine because it's like, we've talked about this before. Logan Paul is a solid wrestler.
Yeah.
He's an ass in real life, but it works for him as like a heel. So it's, he can definitely sell it. Aside from that,
it's a great career for athletic assholes,
Yeah, true. Aside from that, we got Drew McIntyre asking Randy Orton to come out to the ring. And then tried to like get in his head about Cody Rhodes being his friend. So like Drew talks shit about Cody and all this stuff about, thinking that's why Randy attacked him because he attacked Cody. But in reality, Randy just doesn't care. And he clears up that he just doesn't like Drew. So, Drew basically tries to attack him in response. He does get to do it, but Randy recovers fast enough to RKO him, and then all the officials that they send out to try to stop him.
Everyone comes running out.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, he did a lot of RKOs.
Yeah.
That was appreciated.
Love it.
Moving on to the matches. We got Alexa Bliss with Charlotte Flair versus Chelsea Green with Alba Fire. Mm-hmm. This was another match among members of our favorite women's tag teams.
Yay.
So Alexa and Charlotte pairing, still amusing. No Piper this week. She apparently wasn't medically cleared. I don't know what that's supposed to be in France. But Chelsea and Alba were fun as usual. And, they did the usual attacking Charlotte and Alexa after losing the match to them at the end. So that was fun. We got Michin versus Kiana James with Julia. I thought this was cool mostly because Kiana's been annoying Michin, and I don't know. This was barely a match. It was like really funny. Michin basically immediately won. So, I think it's really just like a setup to give Michin more exposure and have her challenge for the Women's U.S. Championship, which I think she could win because I don't know if Julia's really been doing like a lot lately, but who knows? Anyway, moving on, we got the WWE Tag Team Championships, number one contenders match between the Street Profits with B-Fab versus Melodo Miz, Carmelo Hayes and the Miz. I feel like the Street Profits are not getting as much stuff to do. But I am glad to see Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas take off the mask and do some promos. I know that, since you've been watching, you haven't really understood the Wyatt 6 thing.
Not at all.
No, yeah, I know I've seen them, but they've been pretty non-vocal. I feel like they just show up and have a presence. So I think, I haven't felt all that, but I think the whole Bo coming in and talking adds to the creepy factor, because he does do his voice. He does do the voice that's like Bray Wyatt before, his brother from before. So I think it'll work if he stays consistent with it.
You know what it is about them? When I see them, I think about the experience of going to a haunted house.
Yeah.
And just being like, I don't want to interact with the people at the haunted house right now. They're just, it's like, I know they have to do their bit and good for them, but I'm just not in the mood. That's sort of the vibe I get.
Yeah.
But I do think it was a big step forward to see him actually talk this week.
Yeah. No, and I think at least for SmackDown, the tag team stuff has not been as interesting. So this will be good once it starts actually ramping up. The Street Profits deserve more serious.
They're so good.
Yeah, they
I love their song, and I just love them.
Yeah, they need better competition. That's all.
For sure.
So I think it'll be good. And then the last match that we had of that night was Solo Sikoa. It's for the U.S. Championship. Solo Sikoa with the MFTs versus Sami Zayn. Sami won that match, so now he's U.S. champion. Congrats, Sami Zayn.
Yay.
As much as we know Solo to use the MFTs, I've now I've gone to refer to them as the Alatongas.
Ooh, I like that.
Alatongas in the MFTs and JC Mateo. So as much as Solo utilizes them, you knew that this was going to result in having large Jim and and Jacob Fatu, as you call the Haitian vampire. Mislabeled the Haitian vampire when you first found out about him. They got his back. So Sami got probably as close as to a one-on-one match with Solo as he would ever get. We know that he's better than Solo as a wrestler, so we knew he was going to win this if he got a fair match. So shout out to Sami for winning.
Sami.
All right, moving on to Clash in Paris. Ashley, you got any overall comments about the PLE?
Two things. Number one, the French audience was kind of fun to watch. They were really enthusiastic, and I really loved the theme song. It's like do 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 do, and it's sort of like an old school EDM song. But other than that, I don't know. It didn't make a super duper. It didn't seem like a PLE. It seemed more like a regular event.
Yeah. It was I kind of felt the same way. It was kind of not as exciting as I was hoping it would be.
Yeah.
But you could I feel like I could tell that even before I watched it based on the match card. So I'm just going to power through the matches and kind of add some comments about, feel free to jump in if you got anything to say about these matches. First, we kicked off with Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman. I mean, I thought this was fine. I feel but it's more of the same of what we're used to. I really thought it was more of a setup to just remove all of Seth's allies from the vision, from the equation. First they take Paul Heyman out due to injury. We got Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker getting banned from ringside after attacking Roman. So, yeah, I mean, it was just more of the same. They pay it off later on, actually, because I feel it's just mainly used to build tension because, Seth is so used to having people have to help him out to win these, retain his title and all this stuff. So
I thought the coolest part of it was just that Roman got his shoes back. He signed them and he threw them into the crowd. So some lucky people have the shoes.
Nice. Moving on, we had the WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Wyatt Six, specifically Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, with the rest of, all the people hanging out with them. And the Street Profits with B-Fab. I love the Street Profits, but I just feel like they haven't really had a really interesting match since they lost the tag team titles to the Wyatt Six, like back in July or something. They had a good run going for a while once they won in that like 3-way tag match a while ago.
Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I think, the good part is I feel like this is going to work out eventually as long as they're good about keeping Uncle Howdy talking and doing the promo without his mask. Because, if they get him up to a point where people are as amped about him as the Street Profits, then I think it'll be good to have those two leading the tag team division for their show. Moving on, we got the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. Becky retained, and I feel like this match was kind of boring. It was just kind of like letting Nikki do her old shtick, nothing really new, which is fine. I mean, it's whatever. They were just playing up this conflict between the two of them, and I don't know if it was really that much of a payoff because, I mean, considering Nikki hasn't been wrestling for a few years and Becky's been very active, I didn't think there was any way that you could, have really a good match where Nikki would have won. So I'm kind of glad that they decided that was going to be the outcome for it.
Yeah.
To let Becky retain.
And it's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah. Moving on, we got a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match between Rusev and Sheamus. I had to look this one up because I didn't know the conditions of the good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. Like, I didn't understand what made this different from, like, a no rules, no disqualifications match. So, per Wikipedia, a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match is a no disqualification hardcore match where large wood barrels of Irish brandy and shillelaghs are made available at ringside.
Ooh, shillelaghs!
So this is a very specific match, and I mean, I had fun with it. I didn't think like they needed to have like this specific type of match, but I think this is a WWE creation to even begin with.
Yeah, I would.
If I remember correctly, when I looked it up, so I'm not surprised that they're bringing it back because they love doing stuff that like nobody. They may have even like, I don't know, patented this type of match or something like that, so they have the rights up for it. But I just think it's funny because it's like, okay, yeah, just because you have some Irish brandy and shillelaghs, like now all of a sudden it's an Irish thing. And like, what does that do for Rusev? Nothing. It doesn't do anything except for, make it fun for Sheamus. So.
Yeah, why isn't there a good old Slavic?
No. Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah, the barrels really took me out because I wasn't expecting it, and somehow I didn't know they would be there.
Yeah.
So I'm just watching the match, and then I'm like, the fuck? What are those?
Yeah, I almost feel like I need to look up more of these matches because I have a feeling that those barrels did a little bit more, like were used a little bit more than just as decoration and like platforms for them to do stuff off of before. Like I have a feeling maybe they were hitting each other with some barrels before. I could be wrong, but that's what I would imagine. Because like, I mean, what's the point of just having barrels if you're just going to do stuff off of them, I get the shillelaghs, but it's like, who cares about the brandy barrels?
Also, like, it'd be fun if they get into the barrels and there's booze in there.
Yeah,
possibilities. Like but yeah, I think this was the match I enjoyed the most.
It was funny.
Paris, yeah.
So we got John Cena versus Logan Paul. I think we're actually coming around to Logan Paul as being like a quote unquote good wrestler. But also this match was kind of boring until like the end. Like it was very technical and I thought it was cool. Like it's good for Logan. I mean, that's really all it was.
Yeah, really. And I don't like things being good for Logan. That guy's a scumbag.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that part. But I think they're doing a good job of making him more likable now, or they're trying to do that. Let's not
Suicide
forget.
Forest. Never forget the Suicide Forest.
Never forget Suicide Forest. We definitely won't forget it. So
yeah.
I don't think we feel the same way, but yeah, I mean, I'll give him credit as like somebody who's actually putting effort into it.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, you could be worse. You could be Travis Scott.
Ooh.
And then
Travis Scott, who invented drugs.
Yeah, invented getting fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Moving on to the last match of the night, Fatal 4-Way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Jey Uso versus LA Knight. So, they played that shit up like, I think earlier that week on Raw.
Yeah.
Basically like how, even though those three guys hate Seth, they kind of don't like each other either.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how much I cared about that or believed it. Because it's like every time Seth is champion, I feel like there's always hijinks that ensue. So
yeah,
that's what makes it. I mean, like, yes, I know it's wrestling, but some of the stuff, like, especially if you've just had another character kind of doing the same thing, is like the act gets a little old for me. But I do like one element of this. So anyway, how this ended up in the end was that, he retains. But the only reason why he retains is there's a masked, hoodied individual that interfered and then immediately reveals themselves to be Becky Lynch. So, yeah, man.
Punch him in the nuts? Was that
one? Yeah. To give CM Punk a low blow. And her and Seth both hate CM Punk with a passion, or at least that's like the story they're trying to go for. So whatever. I mean, like, yeah, that was kind of like the setup from before, because we were supposed to. I remember like they tried to have Seth play it up where he's like, they had him interviewed backstage about how he felt about not having anybody in his corner stuff, and he was sort of freaking out, even though he said he wasn't, freaked out about it. It didn't bother him, but yeah, I mean, you could see it coming. That's why I don't feel like there were any new ideas in this. I feel like the last PLE that WWE had like 2 days worth of like, I don't know, surprise things happening at the end that we only expected like something bigger, I don't know how big you can get after Brock Lesnar. Right. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's why we have, because now that Brock's back, I don't know if like some of this stuff is intimidating anymore. Moving on to Raw from this Monday. As far as promos and drama goes, just Jey Uso kicked out the show, addressing the attack on Roman at Clash in Paris. Demanded the Vision to come out, but instead he got LA Knight.
Yeah.
Who just blames him for losing his opportunity to become World Heavyweight Champion.
Aww.
So, then that's followed by Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker coming out to address like Paul Heyman being attacked. They argue back and forth and shit. And basically that's just the setup for the final match of the night, which ends up being Jey Uso and LA Knight versus Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. First match of the night is with the Judgment Day ladies, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez versus the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka. Just to be, sarcastic, I just want to say, I almost forgot that the Kabuki Warriors still wrestled and they weren't just exclusively being used to cause a rift between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Because it's been several weeks. I mean, like...
a lot.
Yeah, so I think WWE maybe realized that, that this is happening, or like the fans might have felt this way because they felt the need to have them in a match like with the women's tag team that like is the most active on Raw.
Yeah.
So it's like
like the wrestlers, we promise.
Exactly. We still work here. We actually still work here. We're not just, doing promos and stuff or whatever. We followed that match with Finn Balor with JD McDonough versus Dragon Lee. I feel like this is another maintenance match because...
Oh, maintenance match. I like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to call them from now on. Anything that serves to just reinforce something or like try to keep people, basically getting the fans to shut up about some complaint is, what I'm going to start calling maintenance matches. So with this one, I don't think I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, Like I think in the Kabuki Warriors situation, I think it's funny, mostly because like they're good wrestlers, but they're just not being utilized. So it's like, they're being more utilized for inciting drama rather than actually wrestling. So I just think that's kind of funny considering that like they could be doing more. But like I said, same thing. I feel like Finn Balor versus Dragon Lee is his maintenance match, mostly because like I think the Judgment Day is really relevant in AAA right now. It seems like they're really trying to involve them and, Grande Americano. So I think the Dragon Lee thing is like, they want to like make sure that they're competing against like Lucha Libre competitors whenever they are on like the main show when they're on Raw. So,
I just remembered something.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
We were noticing that JD McDonough's hair was much more flattering head shape wise.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, and then it just occurred to me what he had was a traditional French braid. And guess where they were?
They were in France.
Indeed.
There you go.
So,
but he should keep it.
And I love that it's
actually.
Yeah. Okay, that's all. You may carry on.
Let's move on to Penta and the War Raiders versus New Day, Grayson Waller, a.k.a. Big G. This is Ashley's first 3-on-3, a.k.a. triples match.
I didn't know they did it. I was very confused. I was like, why is there two guys, but then also another guy? What's happening?
Yeah, sometimes they do this. It's AEW has like a title for this, I think. They have a triples title, so I think the Ops have it, which is like Samoa Joe and his crew. But
yeah.
Let's see. And then the last match of the night, which is this Jey Uso and LA Knight versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Not a lot going on with that. Usual back and forth. Just keeping the animosity at an all-time high between both of these like groups. It's basically just like Roman and his family versus like Seth and his people now, like on an ongoing basis. So hopefully they'll do some more interesting matches out of it, because I think they've been doing all like the matchups that they can lately. I think it'll be cool, like I think in general, because this kind of and I forgot to mention that this kind of gave way to what is it?
The CM Punk thing?
Yeah. So I forgot to mention that. So during this episode of Raw, CM Punk is basically just like pissed. And he's like waiting for Seth to get there.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I should have covered this in promos and drama. Sorry, I missed it. But I guess it's better to save it for the end anyway. Mostly because
it's a good end of the episode
it's
reveal.
Something that's important that I think like we want to kind of highlight more anyway, because it's setting up a interesting, pretty much confirmed match between Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus CM Punk and AJ Lee. and it's supposed to be. That's the rumor. I mean, it really sets it up for as much time as Becky wasted, just like slapping Cena
So much
repeatedly.
slapping.
So, and also, yeah, go watch Wrestling News. They'll tell you all the little juicy details that are kind of backing this up, but I think it's pretty obvious, even as somebody who didn't really watch AJ Lee when she was on WWE, I think that, I know that a lot of people are excited for the potential of her returning, and, where else to have it other than CM Punk's hometown, basically where we're going to be at.
Also, the flea market we go to is there. So very exciting that our flea market location is going to be the site of some drama.
But also, anytime something is happening there like this, unless we're actually going to attend it, it's wise to avoid that whole area of Rosemont.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I got to say about that. So yeah, that's it for wrestling this past week. Upcoming, well, the only thing that major we got coming up is on Saturday, September 20th, we actually have 2 PLEs happening. A pay-per-view from AEW. We'll have All Out. And then for WWE, we'll have WrestlePalooza, which will be the first PLE on the new ESPN Unlimited platform. I definitely had I definitely have some feelings about it. If you follow me on TikTok, you would have seen my...
Yeah, follow us on TikTok for our random hot takes. Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to AEW All Out.
Me too.
I am looking forward to WWE WrestlePalooza. But I think they're just really stacking it right now because they hate AEW so much.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to do whatever they can to
live, man.
Get people to sign up for, ESPN service so they can get these PLEs. So yeah, we may or may not cover it. We probably will, because usually we'll catch it like a day or two.
ESPN has to have free trials, right?
Yeah, maybe. No, they don't anymore, I don't think. Damn it, Triple H. Anyway, that does it for the podcast for this week. Make sure to subscribe and like. We are finally on a regular schedule for this, so
hell yeah.
We'll drop these episodes every Friday morning. They in reality come out Thursday night, but I want to give myself like a cushion so I don't have to be with stuff. So yeah, make sure to catch it every week by Friday morning, and subscribe. Make sure to like us wherever we are.
Where we should watch that everywhere.
Yeah, and then also make sure if you got some feedback, feel free to let us know, man. We want to know what to cover. Like I said, we're changing some stuff up, so we want to know what works for everybody else. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We'll see all that stuff.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yay! Bye, guys.
Take it easy.
Friendships touch. Movies and delights we'll share so much. Let's enjoy this side. Oh!